Warning: this video contains scenes of intense violence and gore, offensive language, and graphic imagery. Viewer discretion is advised.
Boo! Welcome to a Halloween episode of JRPG. In this video, we'll be looking at 10 different games that I like to play around Halloween time. These games are in no particular list or order, they're just some suggestions of games to keep that eerie feel in the air. This is a video that I've been looking forward to making, and I'm excited to finally share it with you. If you like to play games around Halloween time that have that spooky sensation, then turn off the lights and let's get started.
The Walking Dead Michonne is another entry in Telltale's The Walking Dead franchise. This game is meant to tell the story of what happened during the time of Michonne's absence from her group in the comics between issues 126 through 139. This game has the usual zombies, and also some ghost children in case it didn't suit a Halloween mood already. From a gameplay perspective, it plays like most of the other Telltale games and Walking Dead games, full of QTEs and tough decisions, but this time with the exception of a new bullet time-like feature in which the game slows and you have to hit prompts in succession. This unfortunately only happened once in my playthrough, but I saw promise in it and I hope Telltale incorporates it more in their future games. It kind of reminded me a bit of a rhythm game, to be honest, and this isn't a bad thing. The game is kind of short, with being only 3 episodes, and the ending is kind of anticlimactic if you've read the comics. And I feel that its ending is a bit abrupt as well. That being said, it's not the worst Telltale game out there. I kept thinking I was about to see Clementine pop out from somewhere, so that was a bit hard to get used to as well. But I will definitely recommend this one if you haven't played it already. Fester's Quest is an Addams Family game that in and of itself constitutes the Halloween vibe already. In this game, Uncle Fester is chilling at an undisclosed location when aliens come and invade. They take away his family and now it's up to Fester himself to rescue them. Playing as Fester, he has an upgradable gun that has different variations depending on how many times you've gotten an upgrade. You can get upgrades along with money, keys, and even light bulbs for seeing in the dark from killing enemies. The enemies respawn if you backtrack like most NES games, so you'll need to plan and be sure you're ready to confront your old nemesises. Or is that nemesis? If you need to go back. You also have an inventory, which reminds me of something out of an RPG or action-adventure game, which is cool, and you can buy power-ups with the money that you've acquired. To me, this game has one of the worst opening theme songs, and probably the worst version of the Addams Family theme. But its biggest redeeming quality is that it has one of the most underappreciated Stage 1 themes. It's definitely one of Sunsoft's best, and that doesn't get enough love. With the creepy and the kooky, this game is a great game to play during Halloween. Limbo is a side-scrolling puzzle platformer indie title. You control a spooky-looking little boy who is on a quest to find his sister. This game's score is all ambient sounds and tones that are appropriate for the atmosphere, so you'll get a lot of creepy vibes when things happen. This game is full of giant bugs, dead bodies that you'll have to use to solve puzzles, mind-controlling bugs, and death! The controls are pretty simple. You can make the boy run, walk, jump, push, or pull things. With the limited controls, it makes it a very accessible game. While this game is not a really hard game, the puzzles are challenging and there's a lot to offer across the 41 levels. I found myself pretty addicted when capturing footage, and at times I didn't want to stop. There are also hidden secrets, which add to the game's replayability. If you're looking for a game that is a bit different, but still can have that ominous creepy feeling, this would be a great choice. Ju-On the Grudge is an adaptation of the Grudge movie franchise, and is even in fact worked on by Takashi Shimizu, who also worked on the corresponding movies. This game is a haunted house simulator, so you will be wandering through various immersive atmospheric levels, and at certain points scary things will be rigged to convey fear, just like a real haunted house. There are several different levels to choose from, and this whole game is about surviving until the end. If your battery runs out, or the grudge gets you, it's game over. Throughout the levels, if you get the fragmented pieces, they will unlock a 5th level when all of them are found. Each of these levels have a different setting and are about a different character within a family. The story behind it is that the girl in the first level is confronted by the grudge, and since she had an encounter, she returns to her family, and they too get encounters with the grudge. This game is interesting in that it has some innovative controls. You don't have a stick or D-pad to maneuver. Instead, you hold down the B button to walk in the direction you're pointing the Wiimote. This concept makes it easy for quickly looking at scares, not to mention the waggle controls to escape Kayako's grip capitalize on what the Wii is all about. This game isn't the best game on the Wii, or the best game that uses these controls, but for what it is, it's enjoyable and worth it if it can be found cheap. Ju-On the Grudge is a great Halloween game to play if you want atmospheric scares and don't mind unsettling images and a little gore.
In Luigi's Mansion, you play as Luigi, who wins a mansion. Unfortunately for Luigi, this huge house is haunted, and Mario's become trapped in the mansion. It's up to the Emerald Plumber to save his brother with the help from Professor Egad, a kooky scientist and inventor. He meets the mad scientist and learns about his Poltergust 3000 and is taught how to use it to capture ghosts. Egad also gives you a Game Boy Horror to which you communicate, and he gives you advice on where to go next and how to deal with ghosts. The Game Boy Horror can also be used as a mapping system and tells you where to go next, and can be used to detect special ghosts and reveal their hearts so you can capture them. When attempting to capture ghosts, you typically flash a light at them to stun them, revealing their heart, and you can then attempt to vacuum them in. On these special ghosts, however, they are from Egad's painting gallery. He explains that ghosts can be turned into portraits and vice versa, and their weaknesses must be exploited in a number of ways, like throwing a ball at them, for instance, to allow you to start to vacuum them up. This game was Luigi's first solo game for a long time, and was a launch title for the GameCube. Typically Mario games were released with the console at launch up to this point, but in Mario's absence, Luigi has proved that he can bring just as many classical adventures as his red-capped brother. This game is also appropriate for Halloween due to the mansion being filled with nothing but ghosts. From regular ghosts, to ghost animals, to more human-like ghosts. This game also has hauntingly whimsical music, and sometimes even Luigi hums along. If you have a GameCube and you haven't played this game, you're missing out on a great Halloween masterpiece.
What did you think of those games? Were they spooky enough for you? Those were the first 5. Here's 5 more. Let's take a look.
Monster Party is another side-scrolling platformer, but like Limbo and unlike most side-scrolling platformers, these games both allow you to backtrack, which is needed greatly. In this heavily localized game, you play as Mark, who is coming back from a ball game, and then notices a shooting star. Then something lands in front of him, and it is a monster whose name is Bert, and needs Mark's help on his planet. Why I mention heavily localized is because a lot of this game is adapted from mostly Japanese folklore, with its own quirks thrown in as well. There is a wide array of enemies, and most are based on Japanese folklore culture, such as the Jinmenken. But regardless of translation, I always find myself playing this game every year around Halloween time. While playing as Mark, you can swing your bat and damage enemies. You can also deflect projectiles back at them as well. You can also get a power-up if you defeat certain enemies that allows you to play as Bert, and turns the game into a side-scrolling shooter of sorts for a short period of time, which can be a bit reminiscent of Altered Beast in my opinion. There is also an array of strange bosses that you can fight. Or not. Halfway through the first level, the game changes atmosphere and turns into a depiction of a hell-like landscape, and introduces even more unique enemies. between the weird and creepy atmosphere and the reliance on some strange Japanese folklore, I recommend this for anyone who would like something different to play to get that Halloween feeling.
Costume Quest 2 is the definition of a Halloween game if there ever was one. This game was made by Double Fine, and actually another Double Fine game, Grim Fandango, almost made this list as well. Costume Quest 2 is the sequel to Costume Quest, and continues the story of Ren, Reynold, and the rest of the gang. This time, with time travel elements, they will need to stop the evil dentist, Dr. White, and save Halloween. I would think that Halloween would be good business for dentists, but what do I know? In this game, you can walk around and explore. You can even smash things to receive candy, which is the currency in this game. This game is RPG-like battles, and in the battles, the costume of the child you're playing as is the character you'll play as. Whether you're the Candy Corn, Sackboy from Little Big Planet, or others, you can take the powers acquired from these outfits and obliterate the opposition. This game introduces some new features from the previous game, including candy trading cards can help give you an edge up in battle. In this game, each character has a basic attack, a super attack, and can, as mentioned earlier, use trading cards to turn the tide of battle. Several different characters have abilities outside of battle that will help you solve puzzles or unlock new areas. There are different character types, just like in the first one. Some are healers, some are brawlers, and others are more defensive. Costume Quest 2 is by far the definition of a Halloween game, and I actually played this game for the first time during Halloween time last year. This franchise is a great, underappreciated franchise, and deserves a look if you've never tried it out, and I really hope we have a third sequel in the near future. Please, Double Fine, make this happen.
The Evil Within is a game that survival horror fans will be right at home with. This game was worked on by Resident Evil creator Shinji Mikami, and published by Bethesda. In this game, you play as the protagonist Sebastian Castellanos, a detective who responds to a call at a hospital. When he gets to the hospital, a bunch of people have been killed, and he starts to investigate. After delving in, he finds he bites off more than he can chew, and is being held captive. He then has to escape wherever he is, and try to get back to civilization, all the while avoiding the creepy residents he finds there. This game has some platforming and stealth elements, but the bulk of this game is in classic survival horror style. Ammo is scarce, and conservation is recommended. Not to mention, some enemies are easier to avoid than confront, and hiding is a valid option. You can get upgrades in the form of electrical shocks, which I'm glad isn't like this in real life, because I don't think that would be too much fun. This game's setting is dirty, grungy, and gritty, and it's a wonder how Sebastian keeps his clothes so clean. Or at least cleaner than they should be. This game is probably one of the more mature on this list. Between spooky apparitions, dead bodies, hallucinations, and crazy people out to kill you, this game is for the ones that can stomach it. But if you can, this game is a great game and can be pretty intense at times. If you're looking for a scary game that is more difficult than some of the others on this list, this would be a Halloween treat. I promise, no tricking. You play as Cooper Chance, who is traveling with his girlfriend Amber. It then starts to rain and they conveniently stumble upon a mansion, Ghoulhaven Hall, and try to crash there to stay dry. Suddenly, they are ambushed by Baron Von Ghoul and his minions, and they take Amber. Now it is up to Cooper, with some help from the residents of the mansion, to get Amber back and leave the mansion in one piece. This game is an action-adventure game with beat-em-up elements. The controls are simple. The left stick is for movement. You can attack by tilting the right stick in the desired direction, press A to pick up items, use the triggers to move the camera, and that's it. Sometimes you'll be pressing the right thumbstick in to use certain items, but that's sporadically. This game also displays its cutscenes in the form of panels like a comic book, and the dialogue is done with a silent movie spin. All the enemies in this game are typical horror creatures: skeletons, zombies, mummies,
imps, and some haunted furniture join your rogues gallery. This game reminds me a lot of Luigi's Mansion in its art style and whimsical horror feel, and since it's from Rare, it's not far from Nintendo. This was the first game of Rare's to be on the Xbox, and it reminds me of why they are one of my favorite developers. This game was actually going to be developed for the GameCube, but was changed to the Xbox when Microsoft bought Rare. If you enjoy Luigi's Mansion and haven't played this title, it will feel like reuniting with an old friend. I haven't played this game until doing it for this video, but I've been hooked, and this game will be going on my list of Halloween classics, and I think it should be on yours as well. Last but not least, there is PT. I'm sure you didn't think this game would make this list. Personally, I would go as far as considering this a full-fledged game, since there will be no formal release, rather than just a demo, but that's just my opinion. Lucky for me, my brother had a copy of this still on his PS4. If you haven't heard of this game, it is actually a playable teaser that is the remnants of the now-defunct Silent Hills game that would have been worked on by Hideo Kojima and Guillermo del Toro, and would have starred Norman Reedus. In this game, you walk through a level, and things slowly start to change around you as you discover more and more, all the while being haunted by Lisa, the deranged spirit of a woman who was murdered. The game runs on a loop, and every loop that you go through slightly changes things around you. Some areas will be excessive, or have details changed, and some things are required for you to force to change before progressing further. You encounter things such as a deformed fetus, bugs, and even creepy Lisa herself. There isn't much to the controls which makes it accessible. Even less controls than Limbo. All you have to be worried about is the directions and interacting with objects. Some say you can talk to Lisa through the microphone, and others disagree. But this game's controls are still pretty pick up and play. This game has some mild gore, jump scares, and creepy imagery, so I wouldn't suggest it for everyone. But if that doesn't bother you, you're in for a treat. It's unfortunate that this game will never be, but at least we have this teaser still to hold on to the what if. If you have this game on your PlayStation 4, you definitely need to play this game this Halloween season.
So what did you guys think? Were those videos eerie enough for you? Do any of these games give you that Halloween feel? What are some games that you like to play around Halloween time? Let me know in the comments below. Also, let me know if you'd like to see another video like this. Maybe I'll do one for the winter holidays or another Halloween video next year. Thanks for watching this Halloween special of JRPG, and I'll see you next video. I'm gonna go trick-or-treating. What's strange is I see more posts discovering this fight stick online than actually knowing the history of it. So it's pretty difficult to figure out why it wasn't more popular than its SNES counterpart. The game broke 1 million copies plus on the Genesis